Today, we're gonna be doing a how to hip thrust tutorial masterclass. Really excited to bring you this one, so go ahead and get your sweet potatoes ready, start carving up, because we're gonna get after it in today's video. Welcome back to today's video. You know it is. My name's Frank and I'm over here. Got Tracy back on the channel. High five. Thank you so much for coming in. Super pumped to have here today because no one just wants to watch me training glutes. We're gonna watch her too. And so I'm really excited to bring you this whole hip thrust tutorial masterclass. If you didn't know, this was actually a video request. So if you want me to show you how to do something, go ahead, comment down on the video, leave me a message. I'd be more than pumped to actually help you along in your exercise journey. So what we're gonna do here today is I'm gonna break down everything that you need to know as far as how to set up doing your hip thrust, equipment that you may or may not have, what you could use, what I like to use, and really just the best way to start activating your glutes and build the best butt of your life. If you don't have any equipment, fear not, because you can do a heck of a lot of just body weight, which we will cover today, using nothing. But for the meat and potatoes of the workout, and at some point in your life, you're gonna have to lift. I like using barbells. I do religiously use my Rogue barbell, the Ohio bar. I also do have one from Right Fitness Equipment that I got used off of Facebook Marketplace, believe it or not. But the main sweet spot for what I'm gonna be using is the bar. If you're brand new to barbell training, maybe you could use a light bar. Generally, sometimes females will use it. It's a smaller bar. It is easier to handle. But most of the women, female clients that train, and guys, we use the bigger bar. I just pretty much stick with that unless someone's super brand new. But we're just gonna be focused primarily today using the big Rogue barbell. Next up, I do have a handful of pads. My very first one I ever bought doing for hip thrust really was the Hampton bar pad. This one isn't bad. It's got a little bit of Velcro on there so you can secure it onto the bar. It won't move around this much, but my favorite, honestly, is using just one of these. I bought like a bunch of these, Iron Bull. There's a lot of different companies out there. I do link this one down in the description if you'd like to pick one up. It's my favorite. It's easy access on and off. This one, I don't know how I got it lying around the studio somehow. Maybe someone brought it in, who knows. If all the pads are taken up, we can use this one. It's a little bit bigger, but I generally don't use it. I do have a client of mine, she loves using this pad for whatever reason. I've honestly never used it other than for doing kneeling exercises. Or maybe doing side planks or balance work, but she does prefer to use the pad. We won't be using it today, but this is an option because you don't always have to have this. When we're doing a lot of our mobility, I feel this is a necessity as far as rolling out your glutes. You're gonna see us start off with that for our mobility. I do use these double massage balls. One of my favorite is using this vibrating double massage ball by Trigger Point. Really cool. Sometimes I don't use that and I will use this. It really digs into the glutes. It's my favorite for mashing out my triceps, biceps, forearms, Achilles, calves, and shins. I'll also sometimes use it on my knee. One of my favorite to use it for our glutes. This is the only thing we're gonna be using today for our mobility other than doing a little warm up on a bench. You can see I have some kettlebells here, okay? These kettlebells, I will place these onto the edge of a bench. We won't be using it today because I have a little bit of a different setup, but sometimes when people start off doing the hip thrust, this bench tends to move around. So I can put some kettlebells onto the edge of the bench. The heavier, the better, so it won't move around as much. This kind of helps secure it into position because sometimes when people are starting off doing a hip thrust, for example, they may be pushing back into the bench. You don't want to push back into the bench so it moves around. Ideally, when you're doing the movement, you want this thing to be secure. So when you're doing your hip thrust, your body's on top and you're thrusting through the hips, not pushing into the bench. But alternatively, you could use a plate, which we're gonna be using plates to do our lifts, but you could also throw a plate on towards the edge of the bench so it doesn't move around as much. Ideally, if you have a wall or if you're at a gym, if you have a platform, something to secure the bench, you're gonna wanna push that into that platform. Ideally, the more secure, the better, depending on where you're at. We're gonna be using a bench today. I have gotten these big rubber pads. that I got from some other gym that was throwing them out. So we're gonna be using those. Sometimes I will use these big rubber pads if you wanna secure, and I'll put a plate there, and that really secures the bench. That's generally kind of the setup for me. I can usually be freestanding on the bench. I'm experienced enough where I just do my hip thrust. I'm not pushing into the bench. But sometimes you're using a crazy heavy weight, and I will set up weights behind it to really get that going. And then an honorable mention, we're gonna try it out a little bit too. Shameless plug, I am not sponsored. I don't make any money, but this thing is really cool. 𝘃𝑀, if you don't know him, I'm gonna link his Instagram and also his YouTube channel. I feel it's very important that the world knows who he is because he is the leading expert on glute training and glute development. One of my best friends, or good friends, Luke, he actually went to school in Arizona, and it was his math teacher, 𝘃𝑀, believe it or not. And Brett, if you're watching this, I'm not sure if you remember who Luke is. But anywho, he first introduced me to him way back in the day. He has this hip thrust bench. It is awesome. We're gonna use it a little bit, why I like it. And I use it from time to time because it's more friendly onto the back. You're doing your hip thrust. It's got this nice pad, this grip, or not a pad, but a nice grip. So you can really stick your feet into it, kind of like you're on a skateboard. So it's really secure when you're doing your hip thrust. And those are the main things. Also, you can use a pad. You don't need it. Or I'm sorry, not a pad, but a yoga mat. So when you're warming up, you can have your knees down onto the ground, doing all sorts of movements. And that is all the equipment that we're gonna be using today. All right, we're getting started. A lot of times when I come into the gym, I'm gonna be foam rolling, but it's glute day, doing hip thrusts, so we're gonna be using this massage ball. She's got the bigger one. You can get that for about 20 bucks. Look on Amazon, maybe they're about 12. It's like a 9-horn fitness. This is the one by Trigger Point. It's a little bit pricier, it's like 100 bucks, but I did score it off Amazon for like 60 back in the day, but prices fluctuate. So anywho, we're gonna start off. I like getting onto the side of the glutes here. And so the glute medius, this side part of the butt, is the most chronically tight part of the entire human body. This glute is responsible, the glute medius, for internal and external rotation of the foot. So I'm just gonna start off, we're just gonna mash. Just going back and forth, just getting some nice passes. Generally, rule of thumb, I might get like 8 to 10 passes. If it's a little bit tighter and I find a tight spot, I might hang in there, bring that knee, kind of just move it in and out. Also, what I like to do is I'll come up a little bit, we'll bring that ankle over to the top, and then just kind of mash. Yep, just going back and forth. Sometimes I'll even get into that lower back area a little bit. It can kind of feel pretty good. I like kind of massaging that. How's that feeling, all right? Yep. So, yeah, gonna make this entertaining for you. Something a little different. I did a back and triceps workout one time on the channel many years ago, but I hope this video stands the test of time. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna move this down to the bottom of the glute, and we're gonna get our glute max. Generally, this is used primarily in our hip thrusts. Also, it is gonna be used when we're doing squats, deadlifts, but we're just trying to get that large portion of the butt, really rolling out the bottom. And remember, everything that we do on one side, we're gonna do onto the other side. And when we get onto the other side, we'll probably throw a little B-roll of us just doing it so you don't have to sit through here. But again, you can generally spend about 30 seconds to a minute, usually about 30 seconds good, 8 to 10 passes. But a lot of times my workouts can take a decent bit of time. Now let's scoot down just a little bit. We're gonna get into that glute ham tie-in. So bottom of the glute, starting getting that top of the hamstring. But I do spend a good bit of time in my workouts. Sometimes they're a couple hours, and I know that sounds crazy. I don't do it all the time, but if I have time to work out, it's a Saturday, I'm in my zone, I love working out, I don't always get the time to do it. I may spend, 10, 20 minutes doing mobility, maybe 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes warming up, doing a hard workout for an hour and 10, doing a little cardio, stair stepper, 20, 30, stretching. Like you can see how it adds up to 2 hours pretty easily. So how's the hamstrings? Not too bad. You got any tight spots in your body today? Anything, any pinches, aches, twists? No, you feel pretty good? Okay, good, that's good. It's good to know. So sometimes we have aches and pains and things we're working through. I do have a little bit of a bum knee, but we don't need to talk about that. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down a little bit lower. So let's actually go down to the middle part of the hamstring, and we're gonna slowly get behind the knee. So I do like to spend a lot of time, because even when we're doing hip thrusts, we're going through extension, we're working the back side of the legs, we're working the butt, but you're gonna get some hamstrings in there a little bit, but we do wanna primarily focus on the glutes. But I just do like to get a little extra blood flow and circulation. Now, when we start getting behind the knee, you can start massaging there a little bit, but I don't put all my weight on there like crazy. because as you can see, there's a lot of connective tissue and tight spots that can get in through there. So I'm just gonna kind of lightly go through there, but I do wanna massage that area just a little bit. You can also get into the calves and shins, but we're not gonna worry about that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and switch. We're gonna go to the other side, a little B-roll. You can see what we're doing. Start it over again. We're gonna go to the other side. We're gonna get the top part of the glutes, get into the lower back, work our way down to the middle of the butt, and then going through the hamstrings again. Now we're gonna be going through our hip warm-up. Listen, there's a million different warm-ups you can do. This video could be 5 hours long if you wanna pick my brain and do everything about glutes and training and methodologies, but I'm just gonna try and keep it short and sweet. And if you need additional exercises, like I said, comment down below, because I'm gonna be dropping a lot on my YouTube channel and Instagram. So we're just gonna be doing 3 main moves. We're gonna be doing some hip circles, clockwise, counterclockwise, fire hydrant kicks, and lateral kicks. That is it to loosen up our hips. And then we're gonna be doing some bodyweight hip thrusts. We'll go through that. So we're just gonna get started. I'm down on the ground, pretending like I don't have anything. Tracy's on the bench. I prefer being on the bench because I can get a little extra range of motion. For me, it's comfortable, especially with the straight leg lateral kicks. You're gonna see that at the end. I get a little extra range, it's easier, because especially if you don't have a lot of hip mobility, mine's decent. I'm not saying it's world class or the best. It's a little bit harder on the ground. But we're starting off, we're gonna go slow. So she's using her right, I'm using my left leg. We're just gonna do some slow, slow hip circles. So we're going counterclockwise. So bringing the knee, or I'm sorry, clockwise, whatever we're doing. We're going in one direction and then we're gonna be doing the other direction. So I'm going clockwise right now, just nice and slow circles. And you're trying to bring it up, and then sometimes you can go fast, but what I've been doing lately, slow is fast. So I'm just going really slow. I'm already losing count, so I'm just gonna do 5 more. And I'm bringing it in and out. Just going really slow, because a lot of times when you're going slow like this and bringing it in, you're gonna find some of these sticking points. So we're just gonna do one side of the body. After we finish one side of the body, then we're gonna be doing the opposite side. So now I'm gonna go back. We're going counterclockwise. I'm bringing this knee up, in and out. And basically you're trying to imagine that you're using that knee and you got like a paintbrush on it. And you're trying to draw the largest circle you possibly can. The more you do these, the more that you mash your hips and glutes with that double massage ball, you're gonna start getting more range of motion. Again, you wanna practice these exercises. I do not neglect my warm-ups. I never neglect my mobility. It's the most important thing, because your workouts don't have to be hours long. And as you can see in this masterclass tutorial today, we're gonna get after it. We're gonna do a handful of warm-up sets, and we're just gonna start crushing it, get some drop sets, stretch, and that's it. Because that's all you need. If you could set a new little PR or a new record, you're gonna be good to go. I probably did way more than 10 hip circles now. So next up, we got our fire hydrant kicks. A lot of these moves I did with my athletic trainer in 2012, 2014. I used a trainer myself for a couple years. He kicked my butt. Before we did sprints, which was my primary thing, I did a lot of sprints and power cleans. We always warmed up our hips. So fire hydrant kick, bring the knee up, kick that foot out as far as you can, bring it back down. We're just going for about 10 reps here, bringing the knee up and then kick. I like the fire hydrant kick because we bring the knee up, we get the glute. As we kick, we get that hamstring loosen up a little bit. We could spend a lot of time doing a dynamic warm up, lunge and stretch, walking kicks, walking toe touches. But for the purpose of this video today, I want to loosen up my hips. I want to get my glutes fired up. Hamstrings, they're going to get, glutes and hamstrings are going to get fired up as we're doing some of the hip thrusts, and you'll see that a little bit later. So I think that's about 10. I am not counting, so we're just trying to think it's 10. Next, we're gonna keep that foot out. Like I said, I do prefer it better being onto the bench, but I'm gonna do it here on the mat too. So we're gonna keep that leg locked, toe down, heel up, because if you have your toe out, it's gonna get that hip flexor a little bit, and then we're gonna try and raise as high as you can, and then back down. And then we're just moving up and down. So we got 10 reps. This is the hardest one for me. As you can see, just being in this quadruped position, my shoulders and arms are already working.
So we're just pushing up. I feel my core, I feel my obliques, I feel my butt, I feel my arms. So when you're doing this, hip circles, fire hydrant kicks, and straight leg lateral kicks, you can really treat this almost as a full body warm up. Oh, man, you just got a few more. And then we're gonna do everything again on the other side of the body.
All right, so we're gonna pretend that you have no equipment. When I get started, Tracy's gonna go onto the bench, she's gonna do it. After we finish our first set, we're gonna do a second set, I'm gonna coach her through it. So we're getting started, we're lying down on the ground. What I first would do if you have no equipment is we're doing a body weight hip thrust. So we're dropping down, we're gonna thrust the hips up, round the lower back, tilt the pelvis inside, pull the stomach in, and then drop it back down again. We're just going for about 10 reps here. Now again, you can play around with your feet position. Here I'm just clenching the butt cheeks, I'm squeezing, dropping it back down, coming back up. I may play around, I may bring my heels back, drop back down. I may bring them forward. This depends on the individual, right? As long as I can feel my glutes squeeze. So sometimes I might even point my toes out a little bit more, thrust up again, nice squeeze, nice contraction. I'm trying to clench my butt cheeks. Again, as I'm coming down, I'm gonna thrust, really pull the stomach inside, squeeze, and I'm always playing around with my feet position a little bit. I wanna find that sweet spot. Ideally, I wanna squeeze my glutes, knees underneath, stacked underneath my toes or my heels, so I have that straight line. But here I really feel my glutes. I can play around with it. I might even bring my feet real close. Pelvic thrust up. Now I feel like the middle of my butt. You gotta really try it to feel it, but I feel the middle of my glutes, like literally next to my, like inside my butt crack, kinda. I feel that part at the bottom of my glute. If I point the toes out, I thrust the hips up, I point them out. There's really no right or wrong way with these feet positions. You just wanna try a few various ways and focus on that contraction. Do not discount this body weight move, either being on the ground or being on the bench, because you can truly feel it. Now we'll just take a little break for a second. If you're ready, you could do a single leg. If you're not, just rest. You're gonna do a set of 10, and then you're gonna do another set of 10. And then that'll basically be your 20 reps. But if you're able to, you're gonna do the set of 10, lying down onto the ground, and then you're gonna do single leg. And this is what I usually do. I don't even rarely do 2 leg, but you can really feel the glutes working harder. But what we're gonna do next is we're gonna do single leg. So 1 leg at a time, heel down. If you wanna make the exercise a little bit harder, you drop the leg down. If you wanna make it easier, I'll bring that knee back up. So I'm just gonna keep this leg extended, drop down, thrust the hip up, and then squeeze. Now here, I feel my hamstring, so I'm gonna drop back down. It's actually cramping a little. I'm gonna point my toe out, bring my foot out a little bit, try it again. Thrust the hip up, there we go. Now I feel my glute, and drop it down. And occasionally I'll wiggle the heel, thrusting up, nice squeeze. It's very easy sometimes for me to get my hamstrings onto the ground, or I feel them more. That's why I like using a bench. But I'm playing around with my foot position, pointing my toe out, dropping it down. I think we're about 5 reps, so we're gonna get about 5 more. But again, using a single leg hip thrust is a really great way to make this exercise a lot harder. And honestly, if you focus a lot on your single leg movements, when you're doing a lot of your leg training, it will transition and make your 2 leg movements more powerful. I honestly didn't do barbell hip thrust for almost a few years. And the other day, I think I maxed out around 375. We'll find out today. We'll see how I feel. And you know, got a little bit more weight on it just from doing a lot of single leg movements. I think that's about 10. So now we're gonna go to the other leg. I'm gonna keep that leg extended. We'll go right into it. Thrust the hip up and then squeeze. So for me, my right side of my body's always been a little bit tighter. So sometimes it's harder for me to really get that glutes. I have to massage that area because it's just so tight. My left side, it's a lot easier. But again, remember, as you're doing these, you're really trying to pull that stomach in. You might even look through your hip as you're doing this movement and you're squeezing the glute. So I think we got about 6 more. 6, drop, squeeze. squeeze, 5. Ideally the feet can be flat. Sometimes I even point my toe out and I play around with it. I might even shift the hip a little just to really focus and feel my glute. You've got to make this move your own, play around with feet positions, and basically whatever position you put your feet in, you want that to translate to feel your glute the most. And enough about me. How you feeling, Tracy? You all right?
I'm good.
Good. She's working harder today, all right? So we're not going to bore you too much. I'm going to coach her through this movement. This is my preferred way to do hip thrusts. I'm showing you there that if you didn't have a bench or anything like that, you just do them body weight on the ground. So like I said, 2-legged hip thrusts. You could do it for 10, take a break, do another 10 reps, or you could do 20 all back to back. And if you're ready, do a set of 10 for activation. Do single leg 10 and 10, and then you're gonna do that 2 sets. I'll put down everything you need to do in the description. So here, let's go 2 legs. We're thrusting up. Feet are staggered about a foot apart. She's coming down, she's coming up. She's got that nice pelvic tilt. Her head is looking through her hips. You can watch her as she thrusts up. She's got that clench in the butt cheek. She's very, getting her glutes activated, getting a nice squeeze there. Even if you just do body weight, like I said, no barbell, it's important that you make that mind-muscle connection. When I work with brand new clients and when I work with my online clients, I really educate them on making the mind-muscle connection and squeezing the muscle. Whatever weight you're doing, you wanna make the light weights feel heavy. Or in this case, body weight, you wanna make it feel as hard as possible. And if you get a very, very hard contraction, you're gonna really feel that glute. So let's get about maybe 1 more rep. I think this is about 10 when I talk. All right, good, you're on point. I thought I might have been a little off. Good, little breather for a second. Now we're gonna shift and we're gonna go to 1 leg. The single leg hip thrust is my jam. I always feel it. So when we're doing this, we're gonna start off with our left leg. We're gonna thrust up and then squeeze. Same similar thing applies. She can have it with the foot straight. You might even try and point your toe out a little bit, but you know, it's really personal preference here, wherever you feel it. Now, which one do you feel more? That one, this one? Out? Okay, yeah, so we'll point it out. Sometimes, like I said, the foot position, it doesn't have to be perfect all the time. You either point the toe out, you bring the toe straight, you might bring that foot forward, but generally, rule of thumb, I like it what she's doing. Knee stacked underneath heel. That's a great way to really get that glute going. What rep are we at? 8, good, somebody's counting. You know trainers suck at counting. There you go, don't make you do reps forever, and I'm bad at that. Nice, there you go, cool. All right, we're gonna go right into the next leg. Last set here, boom, we got 10 reps. She's looking good. Knee stacked underneath the heel. Working the glute, again, tucking the pelvis in, rounding the lower back, think like turtle shell, or rounding as she's looking through the hips. Again, that's allowing us to squeeze the glute. Look at her arms too, they're pretty much flat on the bench. Sometimes the elbows are there a little bit, but ultimately I prefer, let's see if we can get those shoulders to kind of, there we go, like that. But again, whatever feels comfortable. We're using body weight right now, warming up, so we don't have to get too critical, but this is ideally having the shoulders flush and flat against the bench, and then also you may drop those hands, let's see, yeah, like that, depends. Whatever feels more comfortable. Generally, when we have a barbell in our hands, our shoulder is gonna be down on the bench, lats back onto the bench, hand is gonna be supported right onto the bar. And that is our warm-up activation set, and then we're gonna use the barbell next, and we're gonna start crushing the weight. So the whole purpose of today's video was that I had a subscriber, and she mentioned that she's a little bit heavier and her thighs are a little bigger, and she had a hard time doing a barbell hip thrust. She was using about 65 pounds. This is 95, which isn't crazy, but Tracy's strong. We're gonna use this weight. But she had a hard time rolling the bar over her thighs. So Brett Contreras, you could check out his website. We're gonna be using his bench in here in a little bit, the hip thruster light. He actually does make bigger plates, which I haven't bought them yet, but stay tuned. Probably in some of my future videos, I will purchase those plates. They are about I think like 1.25 inches bigger. So it is much easier for people with thicker thighs to roll over. But my best feedback for you is that I would actually, it's gonna take you, I mean, you would probably just wanna go ahead and buy those plates anyways. But if you can find some cheap bumper plates, always be on the lookout on Facebook Marketplace, because that's where I got these from a high school that you could see the paint chipped off a little bit. I got them super cheap. Can't remember how much I paid, but I got a handful of plates. So this is your livelihood. If you want to get badass at doing hip thrusts, you're going to need to invest in yourself. Either go to a gym or you could do them at home. But what I would do is I would get a couple of plates, and you're gonna be able to shimmy this bar onto the plates. So Tracy, let's try it out. It's 95 pounds, and she's not a power lifter, but she works out. Look at that. She just I mean, it was effortless, right? Pretty effortless, like you didn't, yeah, pretty effortless. So now you can see she's got a lot of room here on her thighs, and this is gonna give you, God, at least a couple of inches of travel. And if this wasn't enough, you can go ahead and put another plate on top of there. So actually, this does make it a little bit easier. I'm just gonna move this plate back so we center it up a little bit. Ideally, if I was gonna do this and get this set up where she's at right now, I just like everything to be in alignment. So I want this to kind of be centered up over the rings. So we're here, and this actually does make it a heck of a lot easier to get into position because this thing is not squishing on your pelvis, which this bar is gonna do anyway, so you're gonna have to get used to that. So let's try it out. Let's actually bring those maybe heels back a little bit. Yeah, let's play around with the position. Let's see what feels good for you. Going for 10. So we got a nice thrust coming up, drop, and then coming up. This isn't actually bad. This is actually probably a great idea if you did have bigger thighs, or even if you don't, because we're working top end power. So this is actually a lot easier to lift heavier because we don't have to go all the way down. So it's kind of like deadlifting from bumper plates. So how's this feel?
I like it.
Not bad, yeah. It's actually a good alternative. So thank you so much for commenting on this video or one of my other videos, because this whole tutorial wouldn't have happened today. But actually, for the first time, this is our first time doing this. I like it. I think it feels pretty good, right? Yeah. 95 pounds, pretty effortless for her. She's repping it out, feels the glutes. I mean, she's working a little bit. But again, yep, 10, all right, cool, just stop right there. We're not gonna set any records yet. So again, as you can see, she's got plenty of room to travel on her thighs, and honestly, this is actually not bad. I think if you wanna hit a new PR, do them off of the plates because you don't have to get as much full range of motion. So we're gonna go ahead and roll this bar off, boom, just like that. I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna keep the camera rolling, and I'm just gonna sneak in a set real fast. Get a couple of plates. I'm gonna go a little bit heavier. So generally, some of my female clients that I work with, most of the time I have them at 95 pounds is a good starting point. Sometimes people who are brand new, like I said, we may use that super light bar, and then we'll start off with just a 35-pound bar. I'll graduate, and then I'll add in our 10-pound bumpers and then our 15-pound bumper plates, which we're probably gonna use a little bit of those and a little. I did buy one of these barbell holders with plate holders off Facebook Marketplace. I think they're about like $100. Scored it for like 50 bucks. You can put your bar in here. I did spend the money. I got all these Rogues plates, and again, it's an investment in your butt. So if you care about it and you're gonna build a home gym, not a bad idea. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna give this a whirl for the first time, and let's try this out. So gonna give it a little rolly. So not too bad, right? I mean, you gotta pull it a little bit. Obviously, I think when the weight's heavier, I definitely want a workout partner to help me out, but I'm getting set up in position, have this bar centered. Again, the hardest part about starting is getting the shimmy up from the bar being down on the ground, on getting your back up on here. These plates actually does make it a little bit easier. Ideally, like I said, I want my whole upper back flush on there. I'm gonna have my hands onto the bar. So I start bringing my feet back. First rep's always kind of just a little awkward. You gotta lift the bar and at the same time shimmy the back and shimmy the legs to get into that right spot. So this does make it a little bit easier and more forgiving with these plates. I'm gonna lift the hips, first little thrust. It's up with feet back. I generally always go up and then feet back. So now the bar is lifted. I'm gonna come back down. For me, this is my sweet spot, toes here. Sometimes I point the toes out, but honestly, I've been able to go from here and I'll boom, pelvic thrust and squeeze. I might point the toes a little. Actually, it's not bad. Feel my glutes a little bit more. So toes pointed out. If you can see my angle, my knees may be stacked over my heels. Tracy, how's that look? Are my knees over my heels or a little bit? Okay, cool. So it feels pretty good. I'm right on the money, right on target. Sometimes, you know, it's always good having a workout partner or a trainer. If you can afford one, having a good spot, because that's gonna allow you to see where you need to position your feet. For example, I may move them back more, but now my hips are impinged and I'm not even able to touch this, and I feel my thighs. But if I bring my feet out too much far forward, not bad, not great. Like, see, my knees aren't even under my heels right now. So I start feeling my hamstrings. Hamstrings, the further you go, quads, the further back. Again, you do this enough, boom. How's it look? Good? Yeah, so you do it enough times. I think that's about 10. I'm turning my toes out. I'm clenching my butt cheeks, looking through, down, roll it off. Like I said, you do it enough times, you'll find that sweet spot of what feels good. All right, so we're getting into our second warm-up set. Honestly, AKA probably our good working set. With Tracy here, Usually we're doing like 95 pounds, add a couple of 10s. She's really great for reps, 15, 20 reps, time under tension. So glad she decided to do this video today because, you know, we're probably gonna set some records here. So let's go ahead and get 10 reps of this. I can't remember the last time we tried this, but let's go ahead and get started. She's shimmying up. Again, she has to just go from the natural position and then down and up. Again, right there, thrusting the hips. She doesn't necessarily have to go all the way down. Just getting enough range and then getting that hip thrust and squeeze. Because sometimes if you go all the way down, it really impinges the hips, but form is beautiful here. How you doing? Good? Yep, keep breathing. Bam, she's crushing it, knocking it out. Knees are over the top of the heels. Her toes are pointed out just a hair. She's looking great, looking through the hips, knocking out her 10 reps. And like I said, you don't have to go all the way down in this movement. She's looking through her hips. Her back, upper back is flush against the body there. So she's going, now I'm going. Tracy, kick-ass job. So like I said, we don't normally do a lot of PR because she also does do Pilates. And you know, she's been working out. How long have you been working out for now? Like without any trainers or anything, just like in general? Or have you always just? 8 years? Yeah. So Tracy's looking good. She dedicates her time to this and puts in the work, as well do I. But so I'm gonna show you this. So got about 225, shouldn't be anything too crazy. Like I said, for her, it's a little bit more natural because, you know, when I get, like right now, it's like, oh man, my hips are already like, probably my, I don't know, her thighs look good, but maybe our thighs are the same size. I don't know, I didn't compare them. But anyways, for me, I have a little bit of a harder time getting in that position. So she can actually roll the bar and just go right up into a clean position, which is nice. Obviously, this is already a little bit tight for me. So I actually have to get an awkward kind of a lift with my heel, shimmy my back, scoot my feet back. So it's a lift, it's an awkward lift, foot shimmy and back shimmy at the same time. So yeah, hip lift, back, feet shimmy, then I'm in position and we'll kind of go through it. So I'm here, I'm gonna start lifting and then feet and then adjust the back, and then I pretty much got a sweet spot. So I'm down, boom, same thing like her, because if I go all the way down, this is crushing my hips. So I'm just gonna knock out 10, boom, 3. And then sometimes with these, I mean, you can pause. Obviously, if I pause and hold it, I'm not gonna go as heavy. But if I just do the wraps, nice squeezes, looking through the hip, little extension, I can get a good squeeze of my glutes and I don't have to worry about losing my train of thought, but I don't have to worry about fatiguing if I'm just doing a lot of holds at the top. So I don't know, that was probably a little bit more than 10. But it's hard to talk and lift at the same time. I don't really do that often. What I meant to say is if I'm doing a lot more pauses at the top, I can't lift as heavy. If I just go ahead and knock out the reps, I can lift a little bit heavier. So we got our 2 rounds of 10. We're gonna add a little bit more weight, and then we're gonna do some heavy sets of 5. Actually, what we're gonna do, just for the purpose of today's video, we're gonna do a set about 5 to 8 reps. Probably go up in the weight. We're gonna do an insane drop set, and then we're done. And we're gonna stretch out a little bit. All right, so next up, we're gonna switch pads a little bit. You know, we were doing a little demo, the thing popped off, so sometimes we might be able to switch pads. We're gonna use this one because we want this to be secure, and when that pad pops off, the heavier weight you do could really, you know, put pressure on the hip. So she's actually never done this before, 185 pounds. I think she's got it for sure, so we're gonna give it a shot. Shimmy, shimmy, she has to adjust her back. Good, let's try and get the range, drop it down, and then thrust. Boom, 1, nice. 2, we're gonna go for maybe just a few below failure, but let's see what she's got. 4, there we go. 5, nice, looking good. Crush it. 6, inhale, drive. 7, good, Trey, there we go. 8, let's get 2 more, there we go. Boom, 9, 1 more, and 10, nice, there we go, good. So we're starting to push in a threshold. And listen, not all the reps are gonna be like super perfect. This is the first time she's ever done this. Kick ass, nice job. You don't have to worry about getting full range of motion, especially when you're doing this heavier weight. Something you've got to remember when we're lifting heavy is that you don't always have to get super perfect form. Like, you know, I think it's like a cast, and there's a name for it, but I call it like a top end rep deadlift, where we go ahead and we get just the top end range of that, or not deadlift, the top end range of the hip thrust. So all we're trying to work is that top end range. We're not necessarily going all the way down
getting that full range of motion. So 185 pounds first time, that's not bad. I'm gonna go ahead and load up 15, 30, 25, 335. And then I'm probably maybe 10-ish. We might go for 6 to 8. This will be our last little heavy set. As you can see, the more weight I start adding on, my form is gonna decrease significantly. But that's okay, because I'm still pushing it. You know, it's your journey with the bar, your journey with the weight. So as you're doing some of these movements, now as you can see, this actually does, well, you know, same thing. This a little different, but again, more secure. I'm able to bring my feet. When I'm first starting with this heavier weight, I'm gonna have to get the lift, shimmy my back, and then adjust my feet again. But like I said, as I'm doing heavier weight, I'm not necessarily gonna have the best form. I might go down about 3/4 of the way, because when this weight's heavy, you don't necessarily always have to touch the ground. But again, you just wanna make that mind-muscle connection. The beauty of using heavy weight is that it's easier just to get the muscle mass. Like I said, she never did 185. We usually play around that, you know, 95, 115, 135 here and there. But since we work a lot of reps, a lot of time with our attention, we're gonna find out what our strength potential is today. And, you know, same thing for me. I kind of PR'd a little bit a few weeks ago. Anywho, we're gonna lift this weight. So big breath of air, we're here. And up and a little shimmy, that's the hardest part. Adjust the feet and then down, and then 1 and drive. I'm gonna do 2 more, but these are crappy. All right, so I think I did about like 8 that were decent. Form was starting to get a little bad towards the end, but I went ahead and got a couple extra reps anyway. So sometimes the weight hits the ground. When the weight was a lot heavier, I felt it pulling me down, so I was able to. You don't always necessarily need to hit the ground. Obviously, I am trying to push the weight today. We're trying to grow on this tutorial. So today it's about weight. Sometimes it's about time under tension, which you can do the movements, you can do the pauses. But today, the idea is pushing the limits. Next set, we're gonna do this crazy drop set. We're gonna peel off the weights. It's gonna be miserable. She's never done it. I've only done it once. I did it with a buddy of mine a few weeks ago. It was insane. And we're gonna pump up our glutes. All right, oh my God, this is the craziest set she's ever done in her life. This is not a typical progression. This is actually stupid, but we're gonna try it anyways because I just wanna see it and I wanna show you what's possible or what's not possible. So we did 185. She did that for the first time ever. Typically, I would probably add 20 pounds. Maybe, you know, usually lower body, you can go up 20. If it was way too hard, we could go 10, but she did that relatively not too bad. We're trying 250. We were gonna do 245, but screw it, because 250 sounds better, right? So I'm actually gonna lift this to her because it's a lot heavier. She's never shimmied this up before. We're gonna get a crazy drop set. So we're attempting 250, hit, failure, drop set. We're gonna go 225, failure, drop set, 185, failure, drop set, 135, failure. She's freaking ready. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna get a little deadlift for her, help her out, get a little lift. All right, get ready. Big breath of air. All right, let's hit it. Here we go. Come on. 1, there we go. 2, 3, a little bit more range. Come on. 4, 5, come on. 6, there we go. 7, one more. Give me one. 8, there you go. Drop, drop, drop. Nice, good. All right, we're hanging out there. This is the hardest set you'll ever do. So we're dropping down the weight. Not bad. She's never attempted it. Yeah, the range of motion, it wasn't a lot. Who gives a shit? Because she was pulsing with 250 pounds and she never did it. So it's gonna get a little heavier. She's never even done 225, but we're gonna try and see if she can shimmy it. Let's see what we got. Next part, we're still working. Let's roll that a little bit there. Here we go. You got this, Tracy. Big breath of air. Shimmy back. Here we go. There we go. Down and up. Boom. 1, 2. Work the range a little bit. Come on. 3. There we go. 4. Fuck yeah, you're killing it. There we go. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 7. Good. 8, 9. Here we go. 10. Damn, such a beast. There we go. Awesome. Boom. Breaking it down. How you doing? It's fucking hard, huh? Yeah. Doing good. So she's got the top in range. Look at this potential. Love it. I love seeing what people are capable of, pushing their limits. So obviously it's way harder if you have to do this yourself, but you got to get a training partner. You have to, or get a trainer. That way you can really push it. All right, 185, let's keep working that range of motion. You are freaking crushing it. Doesn't matter what you do from here on out. It's all personal records. Let's get that range down and up. 1, 2, there we go. Come on, 3, nice. 4, good. 5, looking good, Tracy. 6, now it's getting hard. There we go. 7, 8, 9, 10, you are awesome. 8, good. 9, good, come on. 10, beautiful, nice, almost there. Last set. Home sweet home after this. We are almost done. How you doing? Yeah, hanging in there. That's all good. All right, last set. Right into it, no rest. Here we go, right into it. Shimmy on up, boom, bringing it back. Down and up, and 1, get that range. Come on, 2, good. 3, there we go. 4, thrust. 5, good. 6, and 7, 8, 9, 10, 8. Nice, Tracy, come on. 9, good. 10, woo! Nice job, badass. High five. Crushed it, awesome. She totally crushed this weight. 250, yeah, a few little pulses, she still did it. 225, 185, 135. That is a great way that you could try something crazy like this once a month. Not all the time, because training till failure like this every week or every day is insane. You'll hurt yourself. But every once in a while, push the limits, see what you're capable of. Wrapping up, 3 favorite stretches after hip thrusts. All right, we're gonna get into this half pigeon on the bench. It's my favorite yoga pose ever, but if you can't get into it on the ground, we can go through here. So Tracy, let's go ahead and walk that foot forward just a little bit. There we go. Now rock this knee up and down, and then up and down. There we go. So you can sit in this move a little bit. As you're dropping this knee, it's gonna help open up that hip and that glute. Now let's go ahead and get your left hand, reach it across the body, drop the chest down over the thigh. Now sink the knee, boom. As you can see, it's opening up that other hip, working that glute a little bit, stretching in through the lower back and the lats, one of my favorite. Let's come out of here. We're just gonna do the right side of the body and we will wrap it up. We're gonna go do our half kneeling hip flexor quad stretch. So let's go ahead, there you go. You're gonna get those hands into position, drop a knee down. If you're a beginner, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna get in like this runner's lunge stance. You're just staying here. Now I'm gonna use this bench to help slowly, there you go, not too bad. You're gonna come up. So she looks pretty good in that position. Let's actually come back down onto the ground. Let's bring that knee back further. You wanna try and get this knee as close as you can against the wall. There we go, toe up. Now slowly rock it up. You're gonna feel that even more. Coming up, nice, looking awesome. Now try and see if you can reach your hands up. Boom, there we go. Beautiful, looking great. Now you can try and drop forward a little bit. Now come back. All the work is going back. There you go. Now you can try and reach your right hand over the body, a little left, little stretch there. Boom, that's gonna pull into the hip. And then last one, we're gonna go ahead and drop. You're gonna bring this knee back, foot sideways. We're gonna get this half kneeling adductor groin stretch. These are probably my 3 stretches that I'll go through in succession to wrap up a workout. There's so much more we could have done, but again, thank you so much for being here. Again, this was Tracy, you know who it is, Frank, certified personal trainer, fitness nutrition coach on this channel. It is my mission to help you move, feel, and look better through mobility training and nutrition. If you have any questions, or if you have any future video requests, please drop them down in the comment section below because I would love to help you out. And also share this video with a friend or family member that can greatly benefit from this information because life is short and if we don't work on our body today, we are not promised tomorrow. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Love you guys. I will see you soon.
I keep on working, got purpose and worth. Music's my cure and this world is my purse. Get rid of this curse with every verse. Of course I've been hurt, but some have been much worse. Leave me alone, get out of my head. Block out the opinions until I am dead. They all go to speak, but you listen instead. Listen some more and you'll cease to regret. I keep on working, I got it on track. You gonna see my name up on the flag. I sail this ship and I'll never come back. I keep this bitch on the line to attack. Never look back. I make a record like Crash. Top of my bracket I smash. Hot like a pack. I'm about to stack it like cash. It's gonna happen so fast.
Never change my